Hi there. I'm out here doing stuff, so I apologize for the noise, and I'll try to talk a little bit loud because, well, when you're a poor white guy trying to get out of slavery, you kind of have to do some stuff because you can't walk into a bank and say, "I want to cash out on my white privilege." No, so getting in more than full time, you kind of run out of time to do other things. Unfortunately, I'm giving away my time for a few bucks. I'm driving through the hillier southern side of Pennsylvania. But anyway, the subject today is about the feminine aspect in politics. Now, as you all know, through women's suffrage and this type of thing, the women in the West, at least, have, well, gotten more legal equality, if you really want to judge equality by comparing abstract rights, if you will, because I don't think you can really compare different things unless you have a definite substrate of measurement or scale. And I wouldn't attribute somebody's worth to their, rights on paper. Not like I look at every American citizen and say that, oh, you're fantastic because you have the same rights as I do. So, that abstraction aside, I would just like to kind of look more objectively at the consequences of such so-called equality. And I think the major catastrophe of modern politics, and even just the politics of how two people relate on subjects, such as the shape of the earth or diet or what have you, environmental causes. Well, the big disaster is that we're getting away from the facts and focusing more on the person and the delivery and the amount of glittering generalizations this person crams in to 5 minutes, as opposed to the other person who only gets maybe 2 in. This is what has become right. This is what is effective. This is what people look to in a politician. Oh, he sounded like an asshole. Okay. Oh, he sounds nice. He sounds intelligent. Okay. What about the intelligence of, the policy he's actually talking about? Not his delivery of such. What about the intelligence that comes from analyzing empirical data? When you apply the natural scientific method to social issues, where you have responsible, correctly facilitated surveys of people, when you can gather like environmental data, say for environmental policies, if you can gather economic data, when you're looking at the cost effectiveness of bringing immigrants to work, when, say in Canada, up to 10 years later, 80% of them are still unemployed. So I think when we start to focus more on the emotive side of things and less on the boring, factual, and sometimes hard aspects of reality, we start to make decisions which are not in our best interests. And, the feminine involvement and voting patterns and things such as immigration and open borders is just a great example of this very behavior. Okay, statistically, one would for immigration, along the borders and things like that. I think it's because they can emphasize with gag stories and stuff about a baby being like separated from his mom or something, or everyone needs to like be taken care of. Motives such as these. It's this kind of like these things build up and they accumulate to actions which are self-defeating for even that very purpose. Because if you want like families that feel safe together and things like that, it requires a safe environment. And I don't care who you are, but if you're Caucasian and you go to some black neighborhood with your baby, are you gonna feel as safe, as if you're in a secluded all-white neighborhood? Like, are you gonna do something for a few minutes where you're kind of half watching, or are you gonna be like holding your baby against your chest? I'm just saying, like, you can think all kinds of things, but how about facing what you actually do and think, not what's polite to do and think? So there is just a conflict of interest, which I'm pointing out. Whereas, it's so important and vital for that kid who's tuned in the mother, for the mother to feel safe, secure, and happy. Right? So if you care about your own kids, or other people's kids, then I don't know how there's a gap between seeing that immigration leads to more violence, more conflict, more, insecurities in your children's minds as they're growing up. So I only left to think that gap is just filled up with some gushing emotions. Like that's the only logical thing that I can think of. So we're kind of faced with these polarities in the public life and even the politics. Because I don't know, like when you look around, I don't think it's been such that people have really been separated to the extent that they are today about politics. It used to be maybe we don't talk about politics at the dinner table. That was a joke, but it's more than a joke now. It's a relevant reality that, my family and stuff, they look at me differently or only give me the approval of contact, communication if I adhere to their ideas of what's acceptable socially, what's the right thing to do on the political level. So what we have is a situation where perhaps good desires, and these can be exhibited men too, for more nurturing attitudes, for inclusiveness, for just the basics of, we all know that humans want their offspring to do well, like very basic. And the problem with that is that we don't want to actually face and do and implement the things which enable that. And that puts men into a very, inconsiderate situation, I would say. It's like, I want a log cabin, Mr. John. He says, okay, honey, I'll build you that log cabin. I'll start saving up, I'll get some land, and I'll go down there and cut down some cedar trees. But then she says, oh my God, you're so violent. I don't want you to cut down some trees. Split us some trees to build my cabin. That's a ridiculous example, but it's very to the point. And that point is that if you want security, if you want intact families, that requires hard, cold, calculating measures by men. If you want results of anything, you have to do work for those results. So if you want something, you have a desire something, but you're telling somebody that they can't do what it takes for them to fill your desires and provide what they want, but then you're mad at them for not having them. That's an issue, and I see that as being the situation today, and another side about this polarization is like, there's plenty of guys out there who just want to fulfill the desires and give the women in their lives things that they want. Like they're more than happy to work 70 hours a week and give 80% of what they make to their family and kids. That's how we're built. But you gotta let people do what they gotta do in order for you to have what you want. If you know what you want, if you're so fortunate to be reflective and honest with yourself. Not everyone wants the same thing, but a lot of people do want the same thing. Humans aren't entirely different from one another on these basic levels. And this very division introduced by having the social atmosphere be more feminine, way more emotional, and depend less on reality, to be frank, and more on the internalization of reality or the processing of data, if you want to be kind of raw with it. Well, another unfortunate aspect of this relation between the sexes in the public life is it becomes to be in the private life, where now, instead of polarities unifying in a beautiful situation that makes each stronger, what happens is you have these energies now being in opposition, and that energy, which the guy used to be able to put into his work because he knows it's going to go into something fulfilling for him, which is to take care of people, not the same way perhaps as a girl might or a woman, but in the sense of my kids know that I'm busting my ass for them. That makes a man proud. Well, that energy, when it's not appreciated, becomes aggravating. And attitudes might develop like ungrateful women. Women who just want free stuff but don't want to do anything for it. Instead of just realizing that it just makes sense, biologically speaking, for a woman to work less. And you look statistically, every single bracket of age and class income earnings, women work less. It's just how they're built. On average. Everyone's a little different. I'm not saying there aren't exceptions, but anyone who's aware of any type of statistical analysis always knows there's outliers and such things, but there's still trends. Alright? And then on the other side, women, what are men good for? The extreme is they're only good for money. That attitude crops up because they start fixating. Like you're deprived of nutrition, you fixate on something. It becomes like that. And the man is seen less as a person who can also give affection and care to someone who's just good for doing work and resources, accumulation, that type of thing. Which, in a healthy relationship, I think, or any way I value, that that's what a guy does. However, there's other aspects to it. And then this unbalance just it interplays. And interplays also within the man. That now he has to be more feminine in order to be socially accepted, even by other men. you're an asshole, regardless of how well versed you are in the content of the data, of the situation, of the reality of it, it doesn't matter. Because, maybe you won't find someone to date if you have certain views. Maybe you won't be able to have beers with your friends or something if you're silly enough to drink. There's all kinds of sort of hidden ramifications when you divide something as fundamental as the energy between two genders. So, just another example to kind of fit what I'm saying in context. Like, the different sexes have different natures. It's just how it is. If you have two eyes, two ears to listen to people when they're being honest with themselves. Or even just an intuition. Alright? And it would be totally wrong, in my view, for a guy to go up to a woman who's breastfeeding and say, "That's disgusting." Or, "Why are you doing that in public? That's not sociable." Or, if they're completely brainwashed, like, "Oh, shouldn't you get me on formula by now?" Like, God forbid. Formula into a baby's mouth ever. So that would be wrong because it's going against her nature. This is what I do as a woman. This is how God designed me. And if you're gonna be telling me that's wrong to breastfeed a kid wherever I am, because that kid might need it wherever I happen to be, then you're kind of going against the grain. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not cool. By the same hand, you're telling a guy not to be cold and protective of his own to outsiders so that the inside can be nice and warm and cozy. You're going against his fundamental nature. And that's just as horrific to me as socially shunning a woman for breastfeeding. If you give a guy a crap about being factual in the public sphere or in personal life. So I just hope that maybe society can become a bit more reflective and realistic about its own desires. Maybe we're not as altruistic as we want to be or appear to be. Can we look inside ourselves and say that in order for me to give my kids the best place, that means that we have to do some things that may not sound so nice. In order for there to be more, welfare, if you want to speak, not welfare given from the state, but the chance of well-being would be a better way of getting it. That requires that, maybe my man makes a bit more money because his wages aren't going to, immigrants who don't work much, or banks who don't do much. You know what I mean? Like, there's very political things that come directly into what quality food is going to go into your child's mouth. You can't separate these things. But that's what we have. We have a complete separation of the politic from fact, instead of having a separation of feeling and emotion or the feminine aspects from the politic. And that's a problem that goes deeper than just standing on a podium and throwing mud back. Like, it's a cultural issue. It's a breed issue. It's a how do I relate to my buds, my girls, or the people at this dinner party issue. It's how do I think about my neighbor issue. It's how do I feel about living in this town, given this demographic issue. It's what's the generations gonna be looking at type of issue. And it takes a certain part of integrity on the individual to analyze themselves and sort of own up. Yeah, I want things. Okay, I'm a woman, I typically want to be provided with things. Okay, what does that require? Most often, that requires a man. Or most successfully, I would say. And for the other things, what's required for safety and security? The most crime-free nation known to exist on this plane have been ethnically homogenous Western nations. Fertility has been decreasing and has been low generally in Western nations unless the people feel safe and it's encouraged. Like the fecundity of French women during the founding years was astounding. Back in 5.6 or 7 kids per woman. In Hungary and Poland, the child rate is increasing. Well, they have really good immigration policies. The government is even giving incentives or putting out little cheesy commercials about being like the bunnies, little kids running around and just being really cute about it all. And it works. There's nothing inherent in white people that say, we don't care about our kids and we're not going to have it. It's when we're divorced, when we divorce the politics from fact and marry it to the emotion. I hope that you can consider these things because it really affects me, my home, my future, things that you think, because we live in a society where we have to work together and interact. And the more that this feminine type of emotional politics goes unchecked, the more that the feminine is going to be strangled in our society.